Alright, episode 3 time. Part 3. Well, I label these as parts, even though I refer to them as episodes when I actually talk about them, but that's fine. The glare. I am recording this more during daytime right now. And I will say, let me find a better spot to sit. I'll say the glare isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I am pleasantly surprised. Now I just gotta make sure I don't shake the screen accidentally. There we go. Not bad, yeah. I thought the glare was gonna be much worse, but you know what? It's working out. Oh. Made it to the mezzanine last time. Let's try and get all these inside the holes. There we go. Almost there. There we go. Now we're getting it. Come on, you can do it. Almost there. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yep, now we're getting a bunch. Just a few more. Almost there. Oh. Let me grab these really quick. There we go. Alright. Very nearly. Actually, I can just use the suction force. There we go. Got it. Perfect. Yeah. I was going to play some yesterday and record episode 3, but I watched the Nintendo Direct and wasn't particularly impressed with it, and I decided to make that video just talking about my thoughts on and me looking at those few shots from the Ocarina of Time reveal. Yeah. It's the kind of direct that, you know, if besides the few indie games, or exceptions like Piku Niku, which looks fun, and The Big Walk, which also looks pretty fun, it was very much a direct for if you enjoy JRPGs, action games with heavy JRPG elements, or action JRPGs. Yeah. But, if you like games outside of that sort of narrow space of genres, I wouldn't say there was very much to chew on, or as much to enjoy. Which was unfortunate. There we go. I like Xenoblade. I've completed Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2. I haven't played Xenoblade 3 yet, but I've watched Xenoblade 3. I just don't have the money to get Xenoblade 3. I'm guessing what's going on with Xenoblade Genesis. If I had to make a guess, from some of the lines in the trailer, I'm going to guess that Xenoblade... not Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 4, or Genesis. They didn't call it 4. Xenoblade Genesis. I'm going to guess that what's going on with Xenoblade Genesis is that trying to remember what's going on. I'm guessing with Xenoblade Genesis that it's going to end up being one of the earlier times that Zanza kind of reset the Xenoblade universe. It's implied... It's implied that, if not outright stated, that he's reset the universe multiple times before the events of Xenoblade 1. He's consumed the world, restarted things. So if I had to guess, Xenoblade Genesis is probably going to be one of the earlier... Is probably going to be one of the earlier iterations of the universe before they discover Zanza, and then Zanza, you know, consumes everything, restarts the universe again, that kind of thing. That's my guess, with the Genesis subtitle and some of the dialogue and statements surrounding the game. But even then, I wasn't too interested in Xenoblade Genesis, to be honest. It was cool seeing all those Switch 2 editions. Even more content after... even more content post Torn of the Golden Country for Xenoblade 2, which is cool. The thing is I like JRPGs, action JRPGs, and JRPGs with action elements. But that direct wasn't quite feeling it. I was hoping for more genres, you know? More different kinds of games. And I saw something funny. It was some kind of comment that, like, you'll like the Direct if you like more than one game, or something like that. Which has a taste of irony to it, a hint of irony. Because you'll probably like that Direct if you like a very specific genre, or a very specific bandwidth of genres. But if you like things that aren't... There we go. You know, in that narrow bandwidth of genres, you're definitely probably not going to be too interested in that Nintendo Direct. There wasn't much variety to go on, and anything that did kind of present the potential for variety was about 5 seconds long. Like a 5-second teaser, a 30-second teaser, no gameplay, or barely any gameplay. Just narration. There was Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, which seems to be mimicking the problems of the first Nintendo Switch Sports. Including missing a ton of the sports. So... that was an interesting time. I mentioned it in the Zelda video that I just did, but I actually got up early to record something of a reaction video to the Direct. And then as it just kept going and going and going and going, I realized, like, oh man, this isn't really much of anything. So I just kind of deleted what I had and moved on. Yeah. I mean, the main thing that brought the variety to that Direct was probably some of the indie games like Pikuniku or The Big Walk. But there wasn't much to chew on if you liked much else. But I'd say when it comes to me, I don't really value Nintendo Directs that much, overall. There's something fun to engage with. But, you know, regardless of Directs, games will come out when they come out. I know I have absolutely no control over when a game comes out. Or things like that, you know. There's only so much complaining at a Direct will do, because it doesn't affect game release dates. It doesn't really affect much of anything. It's really just for the fun of talking about it. Like, when it comes to me, I just like talking about art direction and consistency and what makes certain visual styles work versus other visual styles and things like that. So that's really... that's pretty much why I just talked about Zelda and nothing really else in the Direct. Because that was really the only thing that caught my attention from the Direct. But yeah, when it comes to Directs, you know, they don't affect release dates or anything, you know? How do I get you out? I bet I had to smash that lid into it. I bet that's it. But yeah, Directs don't affect release dates or anything. It's just for the feeling of having an event, you know? Reveals, releases. It's something that happens purely just to get excited about something, but, you know, the game is going to release anyway. Those things are going to come out regardless, so... Does it stink? That it's pretty lackluster as a presentation? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Does it really affect anything overall? No, not really. I know it's one of those things that is of major interest for people who like to kind of get a feel for what the plan for the rest of the year is, or try and predict things. You know, there are a lot of people who enjoy that kind of thing. Trying to map out Nintendo's fiscal year, so on and so forth. I can see the appeal in it. It's not so much of a thing for me, though. So I don't really mind, overall. It's here one day, gone the next. There we go. We'll just have to see what happens. I think a lot of what goes into the enjoyment experience of watching a Nintendo Direct is the catharsis of knowing whether something is there or not, or if it's going to be real, or that kind of thing. It's the nicety of having a little more transparency. There we go. But you effectively don't miss much by just skipping out on a Nintendo Direct and just coming back later to the Nintendo of America YouTube channel and just watching the trailers later. Sometimes I do that. I'll just skip the Nintendo Direct. And I'll just come back and watch the trailers. The difference, though, with this particular Direct, is the fact that it is the first Direct in a very, very long time. And so it's expected that, you know, they might have something more to show. And while the main draw of the Nintendo Switch is, like, the portability of it, it does kind of stink when a lot of the trailers are for games that are going to run and do better visually and performance-wise on other consoles. Like, there was quite a bit of lag in a lot of those trailers. There was quite a bit of lag. So, you know, of course, as with any Nintendo console, the main strength is what is going to be coming out first and or only to a Nintendo console. And while the trade-off of some power and performance for the ability to take AAA games anywhere you want with you, that is a powerful, you know, pull. It's a powerful draw to the system. As part of a Direct, As part of a Direct, it's pretty lackluster. I mean, those are the kinds of things that... The only way to really get value out of those kinds of things is for those trailers to be shown off at other events, like Summer Games Fest, or a State of Play, or, you know, another event, and to see the subtitle, you know, when the trailer ends and it's telling you what consoles it's coming to. The only real way to get substance out of getting a Switch 2 version of a game that's going to run and look better on another system, is really to just see a blurb in a trailer, or the little logo of just also coming to Switch 2, or, you know, the logos of all the systems that the game is going to be coming to at the end of a different presentation. But the absolute worst place, I think, to reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a game is in a Nintendo Direct. Because now you're just taking up time. Because one, it's a game that already exists. It's been announced. People know it's real. People already know, you know, it's going to come out, when it's going to come out. It's already been revealed, you know? So there's nothing to glean from it other than this trailer you already saw / game you already saw. Well, here it is. You already know it exists. You know, all the excitement of it is gone. Literally all we can do as Nintendo is just tell you that it's going to exist on our console too, and that's it. I mean, that's the most substance you're going to get out of a trailer or a reveal like that for the Switch 2 version of a game. The upgrade from that, is like what they did with the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer in that Direct, which is that Kingdom Hearts 4 was revealed a while ago, but there was absolutely no news on it for a super duper long time, and so it was basically out of the public eye, and anything new that came out of it was essentially going to get the feel of a new reveal. So the fact that the new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 was pretty much exclusively first revealed in a Nintendo Direct to reveal the Switch 2 version, that gives it a little bit of life, but even then, it's only a little bit more life. It's not much more substance, because, it's cool that the Switch 2 Direct got a trailer that everyone was waiting for other events to have, I suppose. But it's novelty more than any real substance to the Direct itself. It doesn't do much it doesn't do much more to prop up the Direct. It does more to prop up the Direct, but it doesn't do much more. Yeah. But yeah, that's my feelings on that. The draw of the Switch 2's portability factor is best presented in other events and presentations as a logo at the bottom of the screen just telling you it'll also come to Switch 2. Not having an entire portion of a Switch 2 Direct to show off a trailer and footage that people have already seen, or maybe one or two other shots that people haven't seen, but it's mostly just the same trailer, just to tell them it's coming to the Switch 2. Because most of the substance has already been sucked out by the fact that, it already exists. People know it already exists. They've already seen the trailer for it. That's why there's a lot of value to either first-time reveals in a Switch Direct and or exclusive reveals in a Switch 2 Direct, in a Nintendo Direct in general. But yeah, having it'll also be on our system reveals lacks a lot of substance. And the middle ground of the trailer came out for another systems event, we know the game exists, but it's been so long that it's basically getting re-revealed. That's a novelty. It's an interesting middle ground, but it still doesn't do much. There we go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Barring repeating myself, that's pretty much my thoughts on that. I just realized the volume is pretty darn low. Let me turn this up. There we go. That's better. Let's see, how long is this recording? 23 minutes so far. Okay, not bad. There we go. Got those dollar bills. There we go. Should get plenty of help.
Wow.
Pretty sure I can't do anything with that until I complete this next room. There we go. I'm pretty sure I can shoot this at something. I don't recall what, though. Oh well. Just launched up there. Alright. Let's see. There was something else I was thinking about before. when I was talking about, you know, the different Luigi's Mansions and all that. When it comes to Luigi's Mansion 1, one of its strongest parts really was just... Okay, can't cook it. That's fine. Oh my gosh. It was alive, now it's no longer. One of its strongest parts was the sense of both wanted and unwanted discovery. I probably mentioned this last time, but you know what? I'm going to mention it again. The sense of both wanted and unwanted discovery in Luigi's Mansion 1 was such a powerful point of it. It was the fact that, you know, like Luigi's Mansion 3, these bosses have designated areas that you can face them in. You pretty much know when they're coming, they're kind of telegraphed. Honestly, actually, this boss that I'm about to fight is probably the closest that this game gets to the whole, like, accidental, unwanted, casual discovery that Luigi's Mansion 1 comes to, which is probably why I remember it so much. Like, I always remember this upcoming boss fight quite vividly every time I get to this part of the game. It's because it surprised me the first time. Like, there's no other boss in this game that's like this, but this boss is very reminiscent of how things were in Luigi's Mansion 1, which is just... You wander into a spot, and you accidentally just find something that's like a boss fight, or is potentially really harmful. Like, you really get the feeling that in Luigi's Mansion 1 of the place being a living place, you know, where people live. It's an actual residence. So you just find guys hanging out in their rooms randomly, and you never know when you're going to find someone. Obviously, if you played the game before, you would know. But just in general, if you haven't played the game before, you've forgotten a lot of it. Like, you never know when you're just gonna run into one of the residents of the place. And just have to deal with an encounter that you might not be ready for, or you have to escape from. Let's see. Ooh. There we go. But yeah, just something about that. Just like, Luigi's Mansion 1 really gives that really strong feeling. It's really good at giving that feeling of, oh, is that? It's shrinking. Okay, just weird item interaction. But it really does a good job of giving that feeling of, like, you're in somebody else's home. You're a stranger in a family's house. There we go. Come on. What is going on with this? Can Luigi walk through that? Ah, he can. Okay, good, good. There we go. You really get that strong impression that you're a stranger in other people's home. But with this game, there's not much really tying the portrait ghosts to the hotel itself. Like, you have the maid, and you have the concierge. Or the busboy. You have like 2 ghosts that really play into the theme of being like hotel staff. But then after that, it's pretty much just themed ghosts in their own levels doing their own thing.
Huh?
I think this is pretty much the extent of what I can do in here. For right now. Oh my gosh, more dollar bills? How many are there? Oh my gosh. Interesting. Okay, well, time to go. I'm pretty sure there's like a mouse who eats one of the buttons or something that I need. And then I'll end up having to run through this area again, chasing it. Alright, off we go. Next floor. Basement, grand lobby, hotel shops, RIP suites. Let's go to hotel shops. But yeah, there's very few ghosts in this game that are actually thematically tied to being part of the hotel. They're pretty much just... the individual floors might as well just be separate worlds. There are elements of them that still tie them to the hotel. But in terms of like the actual bosses themselves, they really have nothing to do with the hotel itself. You don't really see them doing any hotel-related things or interacting with it as if it's a hotel. They're staying in here as if it's a hotel. They're pretty much just playing it straight to whatever the theme of their floor is. So like later on there'll be like a mummy lady kind of pharaoh ghost. And, like, yeah, she doesn't really have anything to do with the hotel theme. She's just, like, played straight mummy ghost creature. And that's it. And yeah, like pretty much each ghost is pretty much just going to be that, played straight to whatever the theme of the floor is, never minding or calling back to the actual setting that the game is taking place in. Which isn't horrible, but it does partly call into question... like, it does partly call into question why the setting is a hotel. Like, you could almost just make this... honestly, with the way floors are themed and they work in this game, you could probably change out the setting of this game to being something like Night at the Museum. Like, Luigi is stuck in a museum with exhibits, and these ghosts are coming back, and they're being true to life, to how they originally were. You have like a pharaoh exhibit, you have an ancient Roman exhibit, you know, that kind of thing. That would fit more thematically with how this game works with its themes if you had like a history theme. Versus the hotel theme, which a lot of the ghosts in this game really don't fit with, you know? With Luigi's Mansion 1, everybody fit with being a family that lives in this mansion. Well, not this mansion, not this hotel, but the mansion that was in Luigi's Mansion 1. But with this game, the setting doesn't really need to be a hotel for most of the ghosts. There are a few exceptions. Not even just like the maid, or Chambria, I think that's her name, or the, you know, bellhop ghost. Yeah, there's like one or two more. One of them I especially like, we'll get to later, is in the sewer section. But yeah, there's very few that justify the hotel setting of this game. To the point where you could probably take some of the ghosts that are tied to the hotel setting of this game and recontextualize them into something like a museum exhibit. You know, like a maintenance worker or security guards, caretakers, things like that. There we go. That's something that always excites me about games that kind of try to be spooky or things like that. It is... because this isn't really like a horror game. It's a spooky game. Just in like generally having a spooky feel. Though, between this and Luigi's Mansion 1, Luigi's Mansion 1 does a much better job of feeling spooky overall. But, like... I can just do this. There we go. Actually, well, let me check the sync. I call this game gloomy. It's more gloomy than it is spooky. Luigi's Mansion 1 is spooky, this game is more gloomy. But when it comes to gloomy, spooky, or horror games, I don't play a lot of horror games, but one thing I like... Actually, I don't really play much horror games. I don't have a lot of money to play them. But I've played one or two, and I've watched all the rest. Thoroughly studied them as much as I possibly could. Without having the ability to play them myself. Though I'm not completely ignorant of horror games. I have played a few. But, yeah. When it comes to these kinds of games, spooky, gloomy, or horror-type games, one of the things that draws me the most, one of the things that really just... Oh, hold on. It would be cool if this ghost would scout this area, but he doesn't. He just hangs out in his office the entire time. Yeah, we won't see him again. He's not going to be wandering around or anything. But, anywho, one of the coolest things, one of the main draws for me when it comes to gloomy or spooky horror games, is the push and pull of wanted and unwanted discovery. I love the idea of just making a discovery you really didn't want to make after you've made it. Yeah, yes, I saw, EGAD, I saw. But just making a discovery you didn't want to make. Can I turn you off, EGAD? Hold on. EGAD. Settings. Hints from EGAD. Off. There we go. Apply. Make sure. Double check. Hints from EGAD. Off. Okay. It's recorded. Got recorded evidence. Turned it off. Okay. But, yeah. The idea of making a discovery you didn't want to make versus making a discovery you do want to make, and the push and pull and not knowing which one you're going to be making as you travel through or go through different areas. I just like that. I like that a lot. Oh my gosh. EGAD, I turned you off. EGAD, shut up. Let me double check. Are there any other settings? Ugh. Yeah, I did. I was hoping there'd be a thing in here. Co-op, map, guidance settings. Let's say guide. Prologue. Characters. Characters, really? Huh. I've never actually been in that menu before. Prologue. Prologue? What happens if you click that? Ah, I see. Okay, just explains the general setup. Okay. Well, let's see. FAQ? Really? That's funny. What breed of dog is Polterpup? Let's see. Alright, well, that's it. Yeah. I also just generally like the push and pull aspect of Luigi's Mansion 1's combat. The kind of tug of war. The slamming is interesting enough in this game, but it gets very repetitive and predictable after a while. I'm just going to ignore EGAD. Oh, more. My mistake. Keep going. Keep on going. There we go. There we go. Yahoo! Okay, let's go grab that key really quick. Oh my gosh. That's the most I've ever seen one of those tables move. Let's see what else we got here. Why are they going outward? Oh, interesting. Okay. Where's that stack of chairs? I swear, is it later? There's just like a random stack of chairs up to the ceiling? I've encountered that multiple times, and I don't know if that's like every chair in the area loading in one spot and not going into its proper position, but I've spawned into this map and there's been like a table with all the chairs hanging above it. There's this glitch I found. Not a glitch. There was this like visual thing in Breath of the Wild when I first got it. And this was before Nintendo. This is like right as Breath of the Wild came out. There was no like screen capture or video screen capture And I was dumb and didn't take my phone and take a picture of it. But there was this one part in Breath of the Wild. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. There we go. There was this one part in Breath of the Wild. It was in the Gerudo area. It was the cutscene where Link walks into Riju's, like, meeting hall and meets Riju. Hold on a second, let me grab this. It's in the scene where Link meets Riju, and he's walking into her meeting hall. There was this weird red curtain, like see-through curtain, that was in front of Link as he was walking into the cutscene. And it was like waving too. Like, when I say curtain, it had movement and physic, as if it was like a curtain. It was like waving across the ground. And I kept looking at it like, what is that? Is that supposed to be there? Is this some kind of, like, curtain thing? And then all of a sudden, Link walks right through it. Like his model, he just walks right through it, as if it wasn't there. And then I realized, like, oh, wait a second, this isn't supposed to be here. Okay. But then I realized, like, wait a second, this... Okay, Luigi. But, and I realized, like, wait a minute, Link just walked right through that thing. It had no physics, it had no collision. He just passed right through this weird red curtain hanging, that's in the cutscene, hanging right in front of, like, right in the middle between where Link enters the room and where Bellaria and Riju are sitting. And then he walked right through it, and I realized, like, wait a minute, this isn't supposed to be here. Whatever this strange curtain is, it's not at all supposed to be in this scene. And it was, like, transparent. It was see-through. But, like, or translucent, transparent. It was red, and you could see right through it. It was... I should have taken a picture of it. I should have. I had my phone. I could have taken a picture of it, but I didn't. There we go. Next. There we go. I should have taken a picture of it. I remember when me and my one very good friend lived close to each other, we played co-op in Luigi's Mansion, and in the Castle McFright's boss fight, the entire crowd didn't load in. Well, not only that, not only did the entire crowd not load in, you could still hear the crowd whenever we landed a hit, but for some reason, like, the boss had double the health and was incredibly difficult to actually grab with the plungers and stuff. For some reason, we couldn't get a hold of him, and when we were doing damage to him, he had, like, obscenely way more health. And then my one very good friend told me later that he was playing that same boss fight with somebody else. Because I know for a fact, like, he has a copy of the game, and he has someone else to play it with. He was telling me, like, yeah, we went through that same boss fight. The crowd loaded in normally, and we defeated the boss way faster, and we weren't doing anything different than what we were doing when, you know, we were playing. So for some reason, the crowd didn't load in, yet we could still hear the sound, the audio file. It wasn't until my second playthrough of the game that I even knew there was supposed to be, like, a cardboard cutout crowd at all, like, in the game. And so not only was the crowd missing, but the audio file was still going. But also, the boss was, like, for some reason, twice as difficult to grapple onto with the plungers, and he had, like, way more health than he normally would have had. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what caused that. There we go. Grab up all these coins. That limited time DK event stuff that they announced in the Direct is some shenanigans. That is incredibly dumb. I really thought they had moved on from doing that whole timed event nonsense where you just lose content if you don't make it on time. I don't have a Switch 2. I'm never going to get to experience. I'm never going to get to experience the Mario content stuff that they do for DK, or the DK like challenge events. Yeah. I'm never gonna get to experience that. Not gonna be able to get the Mario costume or the Luigi costume. Not going to be able to experience the whole, like, giant question mark blocks, the coins, the Mario themed related stuff. It's just, by the time I ever get a Switch 2, by the time I get DK, Bonanza, it's just gone. It's gonna be gone. I'm not gonna get to experience it. And that irritates me so much. That whole timed event stuff. It's just content that's just gone. It's just gonna disappear. Never going to be able to interact with it. And that's so irritating. Nintendo is still up to that stuff. Anyway. Yeah. About halfway through this puzzle. Let's see, which way is it? Ah, there we go. So goopy. Let's see, what else we got here? Ah, gold bat, gold bat. There we go. There we go. And now... there we go. Pretty sure there's a separate one of these where those act... Oh, it's that one over there. Yeah. I think I already did that. I probably already did that. Like, I activated you already, right? I'm pretty sure I did. There we go. Yeah, I already did. Okay. Yeah, the hole over there. Alright, let's see. Oh, yeah. Dark light. That whole dark light thing with the ghosts moving through that really just doesn't come up again. Yeah, the whole tracking ghosts with the dark light thing really does not come up again, like, at all. Okay, gonna have to find the entrance back there.
Hey, sweet elevator button.
Wonder what he's reading.
Man, this is my 3rd annual reading of War and Peace. It's a pretty good book, gotta say. This guy really knew what he was doing when he was writing all this mumbo-jumbo down. Not bad. Pretty cool.
The music did go all spooky. Alright. Let's see. Go. Ah. There we go. Okay. Get these coins. Gonna have to locate wherever that key went. There we go. Let's see. Can I suction this chair? Nope. Okay. How about this faucet? Ah, coin. This isn't going to do anything. Yeah. Gotta go find that key, wherever it is. Hello. Let's see, the exclamation point is still in that area. Okay. Let's head back. Keep doing some exploring. Now, Luigi, you klutz. Oh, it can be flashed again. Okay, never mind. Anyway. Alright. There we go. There we go. That's all that taken care of. Oh-ho! Oh yeah! Got it! You just sleep tight, bro. I'll be right back. Yahoo! Or oh wait, wrong one. Spade. Let's see, the spade one is up there. Oh, there it is. The chairs. The stack of chairs. I want to see that up close. Let's go see that up close. I did it. Look at this. I still don't know if this is supposed to happen, or if this is supposed to be like the chairs loaded in, but they didn't load in correctly. This feels like it could be an error. This game still has quite a few potential bugs. Oh. Oh. Let's see. How much time are we at? 1 hour? Okay. Well, that was strange. Anywho. That was a weird. Here we go. The slight variance. It's not a different ghost, it's just wearing sunglasses. I do like how over the top you can get with smashing them into stuff. That is enjoyable. Here, before I end this episode, I will go and clear out all of these random destructible objects. Boom. Oh. No! No, you don't. Ah, lost one. One got away, darn. Okay. There we go. Not too big of a matter. Oh, wait, there it is! Ah, darn. Oh, wait, there it is, there it is! Get over here, get over here! Gotcha! And you too! You give dollar bills. I'll take that. There we go. Luigi comes in and he scalps all the merchandise. There we go. Ooh, dang. There we go. There we go. My goodness. There we go. Now, Luigi, keep all the coins in the vacuum. No! It can't be! There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Whoa. Coin's acting a little weird. There we go. There we go. That'll be some cool imagery. Make sure I grab this. There we go. Here you go, Luigi. Trade-off. Alright, well, go ahead and stop here. Next time, I should be able to take out the boss of this floor. No problem. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and stop here for this episode. See you in the fourth one.